Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan and the Capitalize Your Best podcast. Thanks again, friends, for tuning back in. As always, I appreciate you checking in. I appreciate your support, your likes, your comments, your reviews. Just thank you so much. We just keep chugging along now that we're up to over 550 episodes, and the Capitalize Your Best podcast is well into the 30s. We keep simulcasting on both platforms, but I think I'm closer to cracking the code on where I want the two podcasts to break back off. That is my plan. And I know that we've spent the last couple of months simulcasting, but I think This Is Going to Hurt is going to go in one direction and Capitalize Your Best is going to go in another. But I will lay that out soon. I'm not going to make that decision quickly. Going to take my time on it and make sure it's fully formed and ready to go. I do want them to be separate podcasts because I do think they can serve in a couple of different purposes. So, and I want to say thank you. Last week, I mentioned my Spring Forward buyer side strategy seminar with Charity Canuti of Bay County Settlement. So thank you for everyone who attended that. That was a fun event. It was brand new content, brand new outlay of everything. And I just, again, everyone's support online, both to help promote it and to attend meant a ton. Coming up this week on Tuesday, the 22nd, I have one of my Capitalize Your Best Life seminars. These are more personal-based coaching seminars, and this one's called Sometimes Life Starts Over. And this is a personal-based seminar, really a workshop where we're just very open, we're personal, and we talk about the starts over. We're talking about starting over in career and starting over in relationships, health. I feel like I'm a pro at starting over, and so I look forward to sharing my mistakes, the lessons I've learned from them, and some of the tips that I can share with that. And it's very interactive. Excuse me. It's not me just up there talking for 2 hours. I sit down. It's more of a conversation. So if you're interested in joining us for that, that is Tuesday the 22nd here in Fredericksburg. It's not broadcast online. You can register for that at capitalizeyourbestlife.com/thrive. That's capitalizeyourbestlife.com/thrive. I'm holding that at Gentani Wellness Salon in downtown Fredericksburg. And that is on the 22nd from 2 to 4. And we're going to have a small social afterwards. So having said that, guys, I have got I'm excited for this. I'll tell you why. I've mentioned before, and I've done episodes about conversations with millionaire mentors. And I'm fortunate to have one primary mentor in my life who just continues to share wisdom, and it's always honest with me. And then I have another mentor that I get together a couple times a year. And with the second mentor, I really try not to ask anything. He's in a place of life where people are just constantly asking things of him, usually money. And so I texted him yesterday. I was like, "Hey, you got a chance for an afternoon drink?" And he goes, "Not today. You doing okay?" And somehow he must have picked up a vibe. And I said, "Hey, just doing okay. Nothing's on fire. We'd love some business wisdom." And he said, "I'll reach out to you this afternoon." And and again, insanely busy person, way more businesses than I have. And the afternoon came and went, and I didn't think any of it. I mean, like, my feelings were not hurt. I understood. And then I got a phone call at 8:58. I'm cleaning the kitchen after dinner. I'm talking to Amy, and I looked up at Amy and I said, "This is the person that's calling me." And she said, "Take it." And there's a small number of people that could call me at 9 o'clock and Amy be like, "You need to take that call." But she did. We talked for 18 minutes. I only noticed that because when I hung up, I wasn't clocking it. And I asked him 3 questions. And what I'm hoping is that as I can share from these 3 questions that you can take away for your business. My goal here really is for you to have these takeaways. So what I would offer, first of all, is these are 3 questions that if you get a chance to be in front of someone who is way more wise than you, way more successful than you, and objective, ask these questions. If they're not more successful, they don't have anything for you. And if they're not more wise than you, don't listen to them. And if they can't be objective, they're what they offer to you, their advice is just useless. But this only works if you can have someone who's succeeded in an area that you've not succeeded, has wisdom you don't have, and they can be candid and objective. So here were my 3 questions. I asked them, am I targeting the right audience? And do I have the right offer? And what is an objective opinion, and impression of my business in the community? So I asked 3 questions. I asked, am I targeting the right audience? And do I have the right offer? And can you tell me what your impression and the impression of the community is about what I'm doing? Here's why I asked those 3 questions. First of all, sometimes we're targeting the broader audience. Like if you're targeting people who don't have any money, then you're not going to make any money yourself. Why would you target people who don't have any money? They don't have any money to give you. You got to target people who can afford your services. I continue to go back to a book by Dan Kennedy called The No BS Guide. The No BS Guide Marketing to the Affluent? He's like, you should target people who have money. You have to have a skill they don't have, or you have to have the ability to do something they don't want to do anymore. But target people who can afford your services. Now, I about 2/3 of my clients at Capitalize are in the real estate industry. And sometimes they have money and sometimes they don't. And even in that, there's segments. Am I targeting real estate agents, or am I targeting brokerages? Am I targeting the person who works for a title agency, or am I targeting the owner of the title agency? Like, it's very different. If I'm targeting a person who can't make the final decision, I've got to work my way up to make the final decision. So, like, for example, in the real estate industry, for Capitalize, there's a lot of flux right now. It is the spring market, which means typically houses come onto the market. There's more to be sold. Interest rates are flat, which means they're basically what they've been. They're not going back down to 2020 ever again. But there's also market instability with all the layoffs in the federal government. And I'm in Virginia, and that affects us. In Stafford, the county above us, 30% of people in that county are federal employees. In our area, it's 20%. So federal government instability is all of a sudden a real issue. So the market is a bit unstable. So we talked through that. And so for you got to ask yourself, who am I speaking to? Am I speaking to an audience that can afford my services? And are they open to listening to me? How you get in front of them? So we talked through how I targeted them. I talked through the system. And then I talked about my offer. Like, am I offering the right thing to them? Because if you're only offering a really small ticket price, then you got to sell thousands of them to make any money. But if your price is too high, then you've priced yourself out of the market. You want to match up the receiver, the target, and you want to match up your offer. The two of those have to go together. And so I did that, and we talked about it, and he talked about, and he has multiple businesses, and he talked about how his businesses have adjusted to the market instability. And he talked about how his business is changing prices and making their offer different and more affordable, but then still also making it one that that his businesses can sustain. And so for you, you've got to ask, like, what am I offering? Am I actually offering something of value, something that's going to help you out? Something that am I making an offer to something that's going to make a difference in their lives? And then, is it affordable? Is it transactional in the sense that you're going to get money and they're going to get something back? So you've got the target and the offer have got to come together. But then I asked what I think was the most important question was, if you don't mind, what do people think of me? What's your impression of me? Because we don't spend a ton of time together, but I know he has taken in some of my comment because he'll like it and comment on it. And he said, Gordon, you're in an industry that sometimes has a reputation for snake oil. He's like, I'm in marketing coaching, but anytime you're in coaching, promising results and that kind of thing, there's an element of snake oil. He said, that's not the impression people have of you. He said, because you're actually doing what you talk about. He's like, how many videos do you make a day? And I was like, 1 to 3, at least one. He says, I see them. He said, so you're actually doing what you're promising people you will help them do. He said, that is distinguishing you in the marketplace as not be snake oil. He said, here's what you got to do different. I'm like, tell me. He said, you just got to straight up tell people, this is why you should work with me. Because you got to give business examples. Give business experience. Like, tell people, like, just create a series. This is why you should work with me. And I'm like, really? But he's wiser than I am. And so we talked about my impression. And then I wanted to be really wise with his time. It was late at night. And I was like, hey, thanks so much. Now, for you, take this. What I want you to do is I want you to find someone who has got more wisdom than you, is more successful in the area in which, will give you proper feedback. But then you need someone who is deathly objective and honest and tell you what the impression of your business is. And don't get offended. Like, you can't. If you have someone who's wiser and smarter than you, and you say, what's the opinion? And they give it to you. I mean, I listened, there was some fear when I said, hey, what's the community's impression? What's your impression of me? I mean, I had to wait and see what he said. And, I'm thankful for what he had to say. Thankfully, but I would have been thankful if he was like, Gordon, you got to change it all. I would have been like, start writing it down. And my day-to-day mentor told me the same thing. He's like, hey, this is what people think about your content. And he gave me suggestions. And we don't get better by people just telling us what we want to hear. We get better by people telling us the truth. I'm going to say that again. We don't get better by people telling us what we want to hear. We get better by people telling us the truth. Maybe the truth is what you want to hear, but I want to get better. So I need to know what to do differently. So friends, these are the takeaways for my brief 18-minute conversation with one of my millionaire mentors. I hope it puts you on the pathway of just being a successful business. And I'm going to do my best to implement everything that I was told yesterday. And I hope to get more of this. So anytime they share wisdom with me, I'm going to share it with you as much as they allow, while maintaining their privacy. So friends, thanks for tuning in. We're going to do this again soon. We'll do it again next week. And stay tuned for the plan for the split of the two podcasts. I will talk to you soon. Have a great week. Thanks so much.